Very good morning, kids. I hope you all are hale and hearty. I, Jyoti, welcome you all to our KP online classes. And in our today's video, we will be looking at a sample of an editorial letter. I hope you all have gone through the previous video in which we have talked about the format of the editorial letter and the elements that are important for the letter writing, and also the points that need to be taken care of while you are writing an editorial letter. So let's have a look at the main points that are to be taken care of before we move on to our sample letter. The first point is keep it formal. Editorial letter, obviously it is going to be published in a newspaper, so you have to keep it formal, which means you will not use any slang words. No use of slang words. It's a big no. Also, you don't have to use short forms. Like we mostly tend to use short forms. Like in place of government, we will write GOVT and dot. Avoid using short forms in editorial letter or in any formal letter. You don't have to use any slang word or any short form. Next is keep the language simple. That means as your letter is going to be published in a newspaper, you will be facing the general public. General public will be appealed to. So you have to keep your language simple so that a large number of people are able to understand what you wish to convey through your letter. Coming on to the third point, that is don't beat around the bush. That means as your letter is going to be published in newspaper, that means each and every word counts. That means you have to pay. In fact, you don't have to pay, but actually when someone gets a thing published in a newspaper, they have to pay for each and every word. So they will not provide you enough space in free if you are not being precise. So don't beat around the bush and just be straight and say what you want to say, being precise. Next is, I've told you in the previous video that you have to keep at least 3 to 4 paragraphs. So in first paragraph you will be giving the introduction of your letter. That means you will be explaining the questions, what and why. That means what you are going to write in this letter and why are you going to write this. Why do you want the general public? What is the reason behind? Why do you think that your letter is important and that it should be provided worth? So you have to mention that in the first paragraph itself. In the second and third paragraph, you have to explain in detail your topic. The reasons, you have to mention the reasons and also the results, the consequences and all other things. They are to be mentioned in the second and third paragraph. Coming on to the fourth paragraph, that will be your concluding paragraph. That means you will have to sum up, you will have to be clear and to the point. You will have to provide the reason why you want the editor to publish your letter in the newspaper. Why is it important? That needs to be told in the concluding paragraph. So let's have a look to one sample of the letter. So here we have the question that I will be providing you in this letter, that is, write a letter to the editor in response to an article related to opening of schools for senior secondary classes. That means you have recently read an article in the newspaper which explains that the government is planning to open schools for senior students, that is for 10 to 12 class students. So you have to express your opinion whether you are considering it a favorable decision or it will be something that will create chaos or problems for the general public and as well as the students and the government. So let's start. In the beginning we will be telling here we will be having the sender's address. As you all might have seen in the previous video, In the beginning we will be having sender's address, then we will be leaving a line. We are leaving a line to make it presentable, so that it is easy for the editor to distinguish between things. Then we will be having the date on which you are writing the letter. Then you will be having the receiver's address. In this case it is a newspaper, so your receiver will be the editor. So here you will be writing the address of the receiver. So here you will have the editor, the name of the newspaper, and don't forget to capitalize the first words, The Hindu, and then you will be having the name of the place, that is New Delhi. After that again you will be leaving one line, and after that you will be giving your subject. In the subject you will mention opening of schools in corona times. That means here you will be telling about your opinion regarding the opening of the schools. So we will begin. Here you can write dear sir or just sir, anything that you prefer. Then you will begin with your introductory paragraph. So you will give a brief introduction of what you are going to write. You don't have to mention that who you are. That is not important at all. What is important is the reason what is important is that you answer the question of what and why that I have already told you. So we will begin with, I am writing this letter to you in response to an article. That means you are making it clear that you have read an article in the newspaper and you are writing this letter in response to that article published in your newspaper related to the decision of higher authorities on opening of schools in corona times. One more thing, higher authorities. Sometimes we don't know whom to address, which authority to address regarding which problem. So in place of just mentioning the specific authority, you can just mention decision of higher authorities. And you have explained what you are going to write, so it is the reason of what. Now why you are writing on this? So you will explain, being a student, I consider it my duty to express my opinion over the same decision. That means you are a student and that is why you are writing this letter to the editor, as this decision is including students. It is regarding the future of the students and the students are to be included in this decision. So it is your duty, you find it your duty to write regarding this decision to the editor. Now we will begin with the second paragraph. So we will start giving our opinions. We will write, though we are finding it hard to study online. That means, what is the reason? Why is the government planning to open the schools? Because it is really hard to study online. There are many consequences that one has to face, that your eyesight gets weakened, and we also face many health issues. So regarding that, taking in view these points, the government is planning that the school should be open. So we will write, though we are finding it hard, everyone is finding it hard, and we want that schools should be opened as soon as possible. Yet the decision of the authorities to open the schools is something worth considering. We are explaining that though it is important to open the schools, yet at present it is worth considering this decision once again. Now we will tell the reasons why it is worth considering. There are several reasons for the same. Now you have mentioned that there are several reasons. That means you are aware of the reasons. And now you will be explaining the reasons one by one. So you can start by writing, first, you will provide comma as you are mentioning the first point. The vaccine and medicine to fight the virus has not yet been produced. Now you are being reasonable, you are being rational. You are telling something which is really important. Like as we all know, vaccine and medicine has not yet been produced. and making it available for the public is a far-fetched task. That means if it has not yet been produced, and if students are going to the schools and they get infected, it will really become difficult. The second reason we will be explaining. Secondly, as has been discovered by the researchers, the symptoms of the virus infection are disappearing. That again is something considering, something that is really worth providing a thought, as we all know that the symptoms are not visible now, so it will obviously create a chaos in the public, and obviously if students are going to schools, they will again be under stress. Furthermore, we are adding our points, we are adding on, and we are giving further reasons. If students, that is the future of the nation, obviously students are future of the nation, so you are being precise, get infected by the virus, it would really become an impossible task to bring the things to normal again. Again, we are being reasonable. We are not talking in air. We are not building castles in the air. We are being reasonable. Whatever we are talking about is true. So next we'll add, we already have an example. Now you are reading newspaper. So in newspaper you must have come across the news that schools in America were opened and students got infected. So to prove your point, you can again provide an example that everyone is aware of. So have an example of the students being infected on large scales in schools in America. So we have provided here around 4 reasons which are explaining that why we don't want schools to be open. Now you will be coming on to the concluding paragraph of this letter. You will write, Sir, taking in view the above mentioned reasons, I feel that the decision should be postponed. Now you are not saying that it should be cancelled. You are just saying that you find it worth postponing as it is hard time. So I request you to publish my article in your highly esteemed newspaper so that the authorities get to know. that we children understand the situation and are ready to study online so as to break the chain of infection. Now again you are here being rational. You are talking sense over here. The main reason why school should not be opened is that the chain has to be broken. Like if one student get infected while coming to school, he will come in contact of several students. Despite the precautions that will be taken care of, in one way or the other, directly or indirectly, the chain will be built. So to break the chain, it is really important that we live far away from each other. We stay far away. We maintain the distance, and the best option for that is to stay home. So here we are telling that we are students. The schools are being opened for us, but we understand that it is important to stay home so we can study online. We are assuring that if we are to study, we can study online as well, though we will have to face difficulties, but we are ready to face them. Also, it will create an awareness in the general public, and I shall be obliged to you. Creating awareness is the main concern that you are writing this letter for. It is really important to create awareness among the general public so that they also understand the reasons why the schools should not be opened. After ending your last paragraph, you will mention yours faithfully, and here you will be writing your name. So I hope this simple letter have made many things clear in your mind, how you are to write, how you have to be precise in your thoughts, how you have to be managed, how you have to manage the points chronically, and how you have to sum them up in the concluding paragraph. So now the ball is in your court. You have to practice more and more. And for practice, you have the best source, that is your BBC Compacta. So open your book and get set and practice as much as you can. That was all from my side. Take care, everyone. See you in the next class. Thank you.